Hello everyone. Today I'm going to share with you what I shared with my fellows in Toastmasters International. It was my icebreaker speech, and the title of my speech was called The ROI of Life. And for those of you who are not sure what the ROI is, we are talking about the return of your investment. That's what it stands for. So when this is a brief explanation. When you invest in something, let's say you buy a real estate property and then you fix it, you resell it for profit. Whatever was left after you subtract the initial investment, that's the return of your investment. That's the ROI. So, and the title of my speech was The ROI of Life. And I opened the line with a story about my daughter, my middle child. She told me once that I should not forgive whatever this person did to me because it caused me hard times and tears and difficulties. And my daughter, she was like, Mommy, you should not give that person another chance because that's a waste of your pain. And that hit me. I never saw pain as a currency until that day. What a deep thought she had. And so what I've learned is that pain, it's inevitable. That happens to everyone. But suffering is optional. That's on you to decide if you want to dwell in it or if you want to move out of it and start creating. I was sharing how many people think about it when you are in a meeting or you're let's say a social event. I don't know about you, but I've noticed there's a lot of people sharing everything that is going wrong in their lives. They're sharing everything that is going wrong with their marriage, with business. And it's funny how many of us, we don't have the ability to change that. Many times we try to comfort them. We're absorbing what they're telling us, and it's a way to welcoming those things. We should cut that out. There's a type of complainers that they do that just because they don't know another way to bond. And be careful with that people. Their bonding strategy is through complaining so that they feel recognized, they feel accepted, they feel like the world is gonna empathize with their pain, but they're doing a disservice to themselves. Because complaining doesn't get anything good to you. You don't get anything good out of complaining. And so that's something that I also mentioned in this speech, as well as my story when I was 17. When I was 17 years old, I was leaving myself, my personal reasons. This is more public. I'm not gonna share it in video. But yes, I was on the streets with my clothes, my books, my everything at 10 p.m. on the street at 17. I was 17. I didn't know what to do. I didn't even have a phone. So I remember I was knocking every door in the neighborhood, asking them to let me make a call. Back then, they used to have, every house used to have a landline. And so somebody let me make a call, and I called my dad. He picked me up, and well, it was a long journey after that. I couldn't live in his house for that long because he is not living himself. He's living with my aunt, and I didn't enjoy the experience. I didn't feel like that was my place because, well, my aunt, she even tried to hit me, and my dad, I'm glad he was there. He stopped her. And just because I was sharing with them something that was going on in my workplace about this man following me, and so I had to go to the police station to report him and to ask for some kind of solution. I was 17. I was afraid. I didn't know what to do. And so, but they were upset on that night because I didn't have a phone, as I said, and I didn't let anybody know. I just went to the police station. I was feeling unsafe, and nobody knew about me. They got worried, and I was gonna be punished for that, for what I was going through, and they didn't want to listen. They were so worried about me that they just wanted to beat me down. Well, my aunt. But that's another story. I mean, that's I'm not gonna go into every single thing that I went through back then. I can only say that I was constantly looking forward to the next thing. I was on my feet thinking, figuring things out, and making the next move, and then the next move. I don't remember to cry. I don't even remember to cry. I had like this poker face, facing life, moving forward, getting creative. And I was obviously being in a very mental plane because I was getting things done, yes, but I was not enjoying any of that. Actually, my body resented it. I was severely going through health issues, and nobody knew about that. By that time, I was working in a car dealer. I was selling cars. I was a minor, so the owner of the concession, he agreed to have the contracts, the contracts that I signed with clients, on his name. He would sign them to make it look like if it was his, it was him. It was his sale, not mine, because I was a minor. So it would enter the system like if this is his clients. And so I'm okay. I was fine. I was, as long as I get paid. And sure enough, that's what we did. He would pay me cash, and I was like that for a while, renting a room myself, no furniture. I remember I would get I got a cardboard box, and I just extended it on the floor, and that was my bed. And it was very cold, so I would just take my clothes and put it on me, like, to cover up myself at night. And that's how I started. That's how I started my living alone at 17. I remember, I think the only time I cried, it was when I was so tired of that survival state of mind, that survival in my nervous system all the time and for that long, that I just broke in tears. I was thinking about my journey in deep detail the other day, and I almost forget about this part in which I remember I was coming from Bodega Horrera. That's the name of a store. It's like a Walmart. I was carrying my stuff, lots of bags on my hands. They were cutting my hands. I was walking long distances just from the store to my current my current house at that moment that I was renting. I had yogurt, I had cereal, you know, quick fixes like tuna fish and in a can, any canned food that I can have. I was carrying that, and I felt depleted. I remember I sat down. It was nighttime, and I wished somebody was there for me. And I wished things weren't like that. And I thank God that at that moment, even though I was feeling terrible, I never thought of taking my life away. I could have, but I never felt like doing it. I guess part of me was holding hopes of things getting better. And hope is a healer. Hope is the spiritual side of resilience. Because for so long I was very resilient. I was doing my stuff. I was moving forward. I was in the mental plane, figuring things out, planning my next move, organizing my schedule, learning new things, reading books. But I never looked around back to me to hold myself and ask me, what do you need, Diana? What do you truly need? What do you want? Is there anything pleasurable that you are longing to do? Is there any refreshing activity that you would like to experience? Because you deserve it. Because not everything is work. Not everything is being worried. I wished so much to have someone to guide me, someone to listen to me. And even though I was in a very religious environment, I didn't feel the confidence to come up to any leader at church or any person at church with what I was going through. My experience of religion wasn't the best. So I knew I was going to be criticized. I was going to be encouraged. But I felt like their encouragement was going to be more like a set of rules and more about what you did wrong and more about what you should be doing, which is, I know that they would be telling me probably to go back to my mom's house, which I didn't want because she used to be very, I'm saying this with a lot of love because she has been renewed and she's changed a lot. But that was a very authoritative, destructive kind of energy that I didn't want to live in. I didn't want to go back to that life. And being the personality that I am, having the personality that I have, being who I am, and she has very strong presence and character. I have a very strong presence and character and drive. Like, we are so much alike that we would not agree on many things. We didn't know how to get closer to each other. So I went through a lot. And in my speech, I didn't go into detail with many things. Actually, they wanted to hear something more like, oh, we wanted to empathize with you. What do you mean that, like, you were able to overcome things? And well, that was the after speech review. But overall, they loved it. It was inspirational for them. They consider that they see things different now, because they admitted that the culture is built to be okay complaining. And we even encourage the other person to keep talking about what is going wrong in their lives. And it shouldn't be like that. It's like rewarding a destructive behavior. This is actually something that I do with my kids. When they're not behaving the right way, they're not gonna have my full attention. I'm not gonna show them. I'm gonna show that I'm not available for that behavior, because I'm not gonna enable it by giving my time to it or my energy to it. And so same principle applies. Same principle applies. We should not be okay with listening to whatever people is going through. I remember when I was going through those tough times, I would just talk to myself to encourage myself, and God, obviously God, but not the God in church, religiously, and not the God that judges and criticizes and sends you to hell. And I try to find my faith in what I can do. And so the ROI of life, the closing line in my speech was, be a smart investor. Make sure you're a smart investor. Get the most out of every tear, pain, experience, sweat, whatever you've gone through. Make sure you get the best ROI, the best return on your investment. Use pain as your currency. Believing something good has to come out of all this. Something good has to come out of all this. And that's the only way we can get the most out of every down situation. But if we're not aware of it, it's like just letting life and circumstances drag us along to whatever the wind goes. And it's not like that. We should be able to align to what we want, and from there, everything else will come to place. Everything else will come to place. And that's something that I didn't know, because I could only, in that season of my life, I could only see what's right in front of my nose, and what am I gonna do? What's my next thing to do for the next day or for the next week? And I wish I pay more attention to my future in the longest picture, in the biggest picture, what I want for me. And that led me to make more mistakes in life. Taking things slightly when I should have taken them with more seriousness. And giving importance to the small things that are meaningless. But I've learned. And this is the way that I am, for what my mom shares with me, is that even when my parents divorced, they divorced when I was 12. So, and my mom says that my sister and I, the way we faced that was through getting more into studies, reading more, studying more, doing our homeworks by our own. We didn't even cry when my parents divorced and my dad was not welcome in the house anymore. And I'm not saying that this is the right way to process emotions. Actually, I don't think it's healthy, because what I see now that I am zooming out is that I could have released everything that I was going through since I started going through strong emotions around 12 years old. It's better to release all that, because it gets trapped in our body. And the thing is, we're not even trained to listen to our body. I never felt like I needed to listen to my body. I didn't even know that that's a thing. But I had to, and I didn't know. When we have emotions trapped in our bodies, we need to find that silent moment, that private moment, to be able to release. If you don't release, your body eventually is going to get sick. And I'm sure you don't want that, because there's people around you that rely on you. Have you noticed why animals, they don't go through traumas like humans do? Why humans get so dysregulated and attacking their own species, unlike animals, when they get to release at the moment. And we usually get to trap our emotions and then release it with a whole lot more consequences, just because we were holding it for so long. In the animal kingdom, they are more like releasing at the moment. Like, let's say a dog would bark. Dogs bark. A bird moving their wings. They find the ways to release. Humans can scream. Humans can cry. Humans can release in private so that they don't have to hurt their loved ones. But I didn't know any of that. My emotions were so trapped. The one thing led to another thing, and then another thing led to another thing. Only like a change of bad events. Because I was not cleaning my system, my nervous system, my believing, the system of that I was, everything I knew, that was like my codes that I knew, right? My conditionings for my past experiences. So I was bringing those codes into my new experiences, and anything was going to change then. And that's the problem. I didn't have anybody to guide me through that. I didn't even know that that was something I can take care of. I can change things around. I did not know. I am learning all these things at this age, almost 40 years old. And I don't know who's watching this video, but if it got to you, it's because you need it, or somebody that you know needs it. So even when I said resilience is the name of the game in that speech, resilience is only part of the name in that game. Because resilience can come from the head only. But we need to work our emotions from the neck down. And that's something that I never took the time to do. And it goes by layers. It goes by layers. When we give grace to ourselves and we see our tender side inside of us with love, that is what it means to pray, to clean ourselves, to clean the channel that is going to let us be more in touch with us, with our higher self. Otherwise, it's going to be like repeating your stories. And you want, after you're cleaned with your memories, with your sensations, your emotional memories, you're going to be ready to create now from a healing place. And that's when you're going to start seeing miracles, good things happening. But you need to break the pattern. And there are activities, they're cleaning, cleanses, they call it cleanses. There are activations. There's deeper inner work available all over the internet, all over the bookstore. It is our responsibility to take care of that spiritual being, and not only about the physical body. This is an invitation for you. This is an invitation for you. And I'm glad you got to the end of this video. I'm gonna leave information in the description box, and I'm gonna leave my email if you wanna send me a text. Send me an email privately. I'll be reading your comments, your questions, and maybe something else that you're curious about. We're learning together. And I'm excited that I'm not that old. I have hopes to keep applying everything that I'm learning. And it's a joy for me to share it with you. As you notice, I have accent. English is not my native language, but it doesn't matter. As long as my message comes across and you get to receive healing and hopes, that's what matters. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.